Yes, Ryan. How are you? You ready?
I'm ready.
Alrighty. Yeah, we are.
It's a forum though.
It is, yeah, as I asked. Gonna wait for that clock or? The roll clock. Okay. So we'll call to order the Sugarland 4B Corporation meeting for Wednesday, January 17th, 2024. It's 4:00 p.m. Do we have any public comments today? No? Can do we have minutes? Slide.
Second. Aye.
So approval for a motion by Jacobson and second by Ferguson, and unanimous approval. Thanks. Okay, so the next is the workshop. So we'll review and discuss the fiscal year 2024 fostering of unique neighborhood grant program. And Emily Moore and John Soriano will take us through that.
Good afternoon, SL4B Board of Directors. Per tradition and economic development, every time a new staff member presents for the first time to our boards, they get a little introduction. So I'll be introducing Emily Moore to you all. Emily Moore is our newest community development coordinator, and she has a bachelor's degree in economics from Tarleton State University and a master's degree in public service and administration from Texas A&M University. She graduated with her master's with the Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2023. She's one of the brightest members of our team, and she's really put a lot of work in reaching out to all of our HOAs, even those that are not here today, to get the city's capital improvement grant program out to them and available to them. And thanks to her hard work and community outreach efforts, we've received 13 grant applications in total for capital improvement projects, totaling over $1.2 million worth of capital improvement projects from our HOAs. For reference, since this program started in 2002, we've had $3.5 million in capital improvement projects. So this year's applications alone could account for about a third of all of those capital improvement costs, which is incredible. And while we don't have the budget to approve all projects, I think all of these applications are a great testament to the power of grassroots community outreach and partnerships with our HOAs. And so, and it's a great example of how positive and incremental community development will truly improve the quality of life here in our city, along with economic development. And so I'm really proud of her and her work. And I hope you're excited as we are to review these applications from our HOAs who want to partner with us at the city. And so with that, I'll let Emily take it away.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
We got a full house here today. That's good. Thank you all for braving the weather. So I want to first start off by thanking the HOA representatives that are here today and going around the room and getting you to introduce yourselves, if that's okay. The first one I see is Robin Hale from Sugar Creek Homes Association.
I'm Robin. I'm the general manager at Sugar Creek Homes Association, have been for 3 years.
Next we have Omid Al-Hagan.
Hi, my name is Omid. I'm with Ashford Lakes.
Thank you. Mark Johnson.
I'm Mark Johnson with Glen Laurel Homeowner Association and
Joanna Figueroa, Glen Laurel Homes Association.
Next we have, who I see, Bohan.
Hi, I'm Bo with New Territory. Been there about 5 years now.
And next I see the representatives from DCR Builders, if you want to introduce yourselves.
My name is Kevin Pelosi with Eaststar Builders. I'm here on behalf of Sugar Mill. And Eaststar Builders, Ross, on behalf here of Sugar Mill.
And next we have Kristen Little.
Hi, I'm Kristen Lytle with Friends of Old Sugarland. We represent the Hill.
Okay, great. I think I got everyone.
Missing one?
Oh, sorry.
I'm here with Butler with First County Community Services Association.
Okay, again, thank you all for being here. It's really appreciated, and we really appreciate how much you've all shown how passionate you are for the community through these applications. So the mission of our department, Community Planning and Redevelopment, is to advocate for and support development and redevelopment that sustain strong community services and a thriving quality of life. The fund grant, previously known as the Joint CIP program, reinforces this goal by helping groups like HOAs, POAs, and recognized community groups invest in capital improvement projects to redevelop neighborhood assets through beautification, placemaking, and mobility. We'll first go over the introduction, which includes the purpose of the program, project funding and budget. Then I'll go over the program goals, as well as the project requirements and criteria related to the program goals. Then we'll discuss the workshop purpose and expectations for today, as well as other considerations you might think of while reviewing these applications. Then we'll dive into the application review in alphabetical order, and we'll round it off with the staff recommendation. In your packet, you have, there's this presentation, so you can follow along if you want to. A one-page handout summarizing the upcoming information in the slides, a map showing total project cost by HOA, a major thoroughfare map, and resolution 2328, which was the resolution that authorized the update to this program. Additionally, there's an application binder where you can view the forms that we asked for during the application cycle. It's there beside Steve. It's for all the applicants if you would like to look into that while we're going through the presentation. The purpose of the SL4B Fund Grant Program is to empower community groups to revitalize and create unique places that reflect the distinct character of each neighborhood or area of commerce. These partnerships will promote economic development and workforce retention and attraction through the transformative power of placemaking, mobility, and beautification that will enhance the quality of life of the community. The available project funding is up to 50% of the project cost or $75,000, whichever is lesser of the two. However, it is within the board's discretion to fund in excess of those amounts. The program budget for fiscal year 24 is $200,000, which is the same as last fiscal year. The goals of this program are to beautify Sugarland's neighborhoods and areas of commerce, promote economic development, develop public spaces, create inviting outdoor spaces, preserve and celebrate the distinct character of Sugarland single-family neighborhoods, and innovate. The goals of this program help to make the city attractive to businesses and their workforce and to retain them. And this will in turn stimulate economic growth. This will generate the tax revenue that's necessary to keep funding and sustaining those strong community services and thriving quality of life, which is the mission of our department and the city as a whole in terms of redevelopment. The criteria for fund projects are that they relate to business and workforce attraction and retention through improvements to the community and enhancing the community's quality of life. This is specified by Texas Local Government Code and includes street and traffic and site improvements, parks and recreation improvements, and cultural arts, performing arts, and museum amenities. Maintenance-related items will not be considered as qualifying projects for this grant. Qualifying fund projects can be located on public property or private property so long as the board determines that private ownership does not diminish the public's benefit. There's also a locational criteria that all fund grant projects must be located on, adjacent to, or visible from a minor collector street, major collector street, arterial street, state highway, or freeway. All applications in this presentation have been identified as meeting that locational requirement unless otherwise specified in the presentation. The purpose of today's workshop is for the board to provide feedback on these applications and ask questions. And at the end of the presentation, as previously mentioned, I will go over what staff has recommended in terms of which projects should be approved based on an in-depth staff review. Ideally, at the end of this meeting, there will be clarity from the board on which projects you'll like to see come forward in February with finding and funding resolutions. And after those resolutions are passed or approved by the board, the community group will enter into an agreement with the city to fund, manage, and complete their project in order to be reimbursed. Some other things to think about while reviewing these applications are whether the project promotes economic development through by creating places and quality of life improvements that will retain and attract businesses and their workforce, whether the project provides a public benefit, and whether the project accomplishes a program goal. And again, if you want to be reminded of those, they're in your PowerPoint printout and on the one-page document. Now I'll go through each application, each having a few slides per project. And after each slide, which contains photos and maps, I'll accept any questions on each application. But at this time, are there any questions? Okay, we'll get right into it. Again, going in alphabetical order, we'll start with Ashford Lakes. They have applied with 9 entryway improvements along Alston Road. The improvements include signage enhancements on corners labeled 1 through 9 on the map, and landscaping improvements to accompany those enhancements on 1 through 8. The total project cost requested was $63,492.35. However, per the policy, landscaping cost cannot exceed capital improvement project cost. Therefore, the landscaping amount was reduced to be equivalent to the signage enhancement cost. The eligible project cost is therefore $51,000 and $50.70, with half of that being requested from SL4B at $25,000, $525.35. The new sign will be identical to the previous as shown in the top left corner here. This is not the current state of this corner. It's actually this existing condition here. The previous signage that was here was misplaced, so the HOA is applying to replace that corner and implement that same design and signage on all the corners along Alston Road. In addition to the signage enhancements, landscaping enhancements will accompany them. Here are the sketches of the landscaping as well as the plants that will be landscaped into the landscaping diorama. At this time, I'll take any questions on Ashford Lakes project.
Just clarifying.
Of course.
Can you go back to the previous slide? With the red brick wall, we've completely rebuilt all of our walls around the perimeter of our HOA. So that red brick wall was completely removed and has been replaced with the wall on the right. So all of our signs, all of our flowers, all of our landscaping has been destroyed by the contractors, by the city moving utilities. And that's why we don't have the signs basically anymore. It's all just been destroyed. Do you have anything? Huma's the president as well.
Oh, hi.
Just one more thing to add, as he mentioned, we no longer have the red wall and we do have the white wall now. So this, the color of the signage would no longer be golden, but we're going to make it black. So it actually enhances and you can actually see the Ashford Lake. So we will be sending you that shortly with the new color. It's just the color change that we're going to be having.
Could you introduce yourself?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Hima Bhamber. I'm the current president of the HOA, Ashford Lakes HOA.
Okay. Are there any other questions from the board on Ashford Lakes project? Okay. Colony Grant HOA applied for a new play structure, a T-swing, upgraded borders, and improved safety surfacing to their current playground. The estimated project cost is $84,459, with half of that being requested from SL4B at $42,230. The staff review committee determined that this project is not visible from a major thoroughfare. However, it still is within the discretion of the board to approve it. On the left, you can see the existing condition of the playground, and the proposed project would include the T-swings as well as the new play structure. Are there any questions on Colony Grant HOA's project? Yes, sir.
I'm William Ferguson. So tell me again about the location concern, so I understand why we're having to make a sort of special consideration.
Yes, so the policy specifies that the project needs to be viewable from or adjacent to a major thoroughfare because it helps contribute to economic development. Businesses, their workforce will see these places and want to stay here. And so that will help increase the tax revenue, property revenue, things like that.
In response to that, so why would we consider changing that now? Like, what's the advantage, obviously, to the community? And I certainly support that. But we're going to see this time and time again. Do we need to rewrite the way this thing is structured? I'm just trying to, why is it even an issue?
Tag. Councilman Ferguson, you might recall that this program was recently kind of already rewritten when we had a policy change to change it from the joint CIP program to the fund grant program. Essentially, one of those big changes that were made and that City Council approved was essentially before a project couldn't be viewable or located on a minor collector road. And so in the new program, we expanded that location eligibility so that more HOAs could participate in the program. One problem with the original location criteria was it was a little strict, and so not every HOA could really get an application in, and so we widened it a bit. I want to clarify too that this project, when we go back to the map right here, is it's not viewable from a minor collector road, which is the closest ones are here and here, and we looked at it pretty extensively, and you can't really see it from the minor collector. But per policy, the board still has the leeway to, or the discretion, excuse me, to approve projects like these. But I would wait to, or if you want to flip ahead in your packet, if you'd like, staff has a recommendation as to which projects we would like y'all to approve in February. This is not one of them because of this criteria of how far it is from the major collector roads. But out of courtesy for all of the applications and everyone who applied, we're going to go through all of the applications in alphabetical order and then give you our recommendation.
Okay.
So
Thank you very much.
of course.
I'm just going to add a little bit to that. This is funded by the 4B Corporation. So we are limited in what we can fund per the state statute as well. And so some of these, the policy is written to be within those state statute requirements. However, the state statute also gives a lot of leeway to the board that if you deem this necessary per what is outlined in the state statute, that it benefits economic development, then you as the board have the ability to make that decision. So that's where it's not necessarily the policy, it's the policy that needs to reflect what the state statute says.
And you just hit on what I think I was hoping somebody would say. So while I certainly agree with playgrounds and all, this is going to come up. Thankfully, the more active your group is becoming, more and more HOAs are going to want things that are outside. So now that she said what she did, it makes more sense. Should it get denied, it's not just because of our preferences, it may be guidelines beyond us. That's all. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, any other questions from the board? Okay. Next, we have Community Association of the Highlands. They applied for an expansion of their playground, including the removal of the current play structure and replacement of it with a modernized play structure, installation of new borders, a new safety surfacing, 2 spring riders, a new swing set, and a new merry-go-round. In addition to the expansion of their playground, they're also requesting 5 new 6-foot benches in these cul-de-sacs. Here. And the total estimated project cost is $136,542, with the amount requested from the SL4B Corporation being 50% of that at $68,271. Here's some photos of what's projected the new play structure will look like, a swing set, merry-go-round here, spring rider, shade structure, and a photo of what the benches will look like in the cul-de-sacs. Here's the location of the playground. It is adjacent to and viewable from Williams Joyce Boulevard, which is a major road. Here to the right With the blue arrows, you can see the benches that are along major thoroughfare. And the Planters Row and Highland Hills, neither of those are major thoroughfare, so that's highlighted red. Again, that's still within the board's discretion to approve. Are there any questions over Highlands application? Covington Woods Community Association applied with entryway improvements to include renovated landscape beds, landscaping, and 3 new electrical meters at the following locations here to your right. According to the applicant, the association needs 3 new electrical meters at each location so that 2 new GFCI outlets per monument may be installed so that they can display holiday lighting, and also in the future, maybe upgrade their monuments should the board choose to do so. Here are the dioramas of the landscaping as well as the plants. Are there any questions on Covington Woods Community Association? Yes, sir.
So I know that we're excluding some types of landscaping, but others squeak through. This is different because.
Yes, so per the policy, the landscaping cost can't exceed the capital improvement cost. And the capital improvement here would be the electrical meters. And so since the landscaping is in a lesser value, it passed. Yes, sir.
Do we have any criteria on the type of plants? Are they resistant to heat or freeze, or it's just?
Not in the policy, no.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Do I understand correctly, though, that when these plants are installed, it becomes the neighborhood's responsibility, and we are not going to pay to replant frozen vegetation, right? Okay, so it's just the one time to set it up? Okay.
Correct. Okay, any other questions on Covington Woods? Okay. First Colony Community Services Association applied with a left turn lane on the southbound side of Austin Parkway to enter into FCCSA's community clubhouse area. According to the applicant, this would improve access to the community center and mitigate traffic issues, as drivers would no longer have to go down and make a U-turn in front of Lakes of Austin Park. Additionally, it would improve safety for pedestrians and kids riding their bikes to school or people walking on the road. Here you can see the current condition, the existing condition, which is just the median, no turn lane. And here is the proposed site plan for the left turn lane. The estimated total project cost is $150,000 with SL4B contributing $75,000 or 50%. Are there any questions on this one? Okay. Friends of Old Sugarland applied on behalf of the Hill. This project is 49 streetlight banners in the Hill. 3 extra banners were included in the quote for a total of 52. So that explains the cost here, which is $12,108.20. Half of that is being requested from SL4B at $6,054.10. There's quite a bit of historical references and symbology included in the banners, including the typeface, which was used, a similar typeface of which was used by Imperial Sugar and the town at the time. The pecan fronds are native to the Hill and also symbolize continued growth. And the 7 gems in the crown represent the 7 streets of the Hill. Here are the locations of the streetlights. Again, there are 49 of them. Are there any questions on Friends of Old Sugarland's application? Okay. Glen Laurel HOA applied for a replacement of their existing 8-foot wooden fence with a 6-foot concrete fence along Mason Street between Florence Road and West Airport. The idea is that this existing fence would be updated to look more like what is currently along West Airport and Bernie Road here. The total project cost is estimated to be $245,657. They're requesting about 30% of that cost from the SL4B at $75,000. And here is a map showing the location of the fence upgrades. Are there any questions on Glen Laurel's application? Yes, sir.
Wow, what an investment this is going to be for the HOA. Good for them. Is there security issues that's driving this? Is it just sheerly appearance? This is a really beautiful upgrade and it's big. So I'm curious what's driving it.
Would maybe Mark or Joanna be able to answer that?
Period.
So we have updated to this concrete fence. We started along West Airport, obviously, which initiated a lot of new fences in the area. And it was a big success. It made a huge difference to the neighborhood. Then we did Bernie Road, which just built on. So we're trying to do this in chunks, essentially, to break it up. What we're trying to do here is to finish out surrounding the neighborhood with the same beautiful fence so that we're distinct in our neighborhood. This connecting fence right here connects to the West Airport fence going down, is it Florence Road, I believe it is? Mason Road. And so it's visible from West Airport, and it just, we're essentially, it's a maintenance issue mostly. The old wood fences, we're having to replace those all the time. They're getting blown over, falling down, and they're just not, from a maintenance perspective, they're not economical. So we'd like to surround the neighborhood with this beautiful fence and just sort of extend what we currently have been building on for the neighborhood. So,
if I may, in response to that, it's commendable, great leadership that you can take your community in a time of economic challenges all around us, and you're making it absolutely beautiful for everyone. So that's just, I was curious. I'm like, how did they drive this? It's just great leadership. Good work.
thank you.
Any other questions on Glen Laurel's application? Okay. New Territory Residential Community Association applied for a replacement of their existing playground with a new play structure for individuals aged 13 and above. They currently have a playground in Pecan Park West that's geared more toward 5 to 12-year-olds. And the idea is that this park here, Pecan Park East, would be for individuals aged 13 and up, and it would be more fitness oriented and things like that. The estimated total project cost is $180,900, with about 41% being requested from the SL4B at $75,000. Here's the current playground on the left, and here are the plans for the new play structure. Are there any questions on New Territory's application? Sugar Creek Homes Association is applying with a median walkway improvement from the 1600 to 1731 block of Country Club Boulevard. This will be a 4-foot across crushed granite sidewalk with adjusted irrigation and 2 benches. The idea is that this would replace a sidewalk, as there are currently no sidewalks in the neighborhood. So according to the applicant, this improvement will enhance pedestrian safety, and it will also beautify the median, as there are areas where grass won't grow along the median. So I'll show you that in a second. So the estimated total project cost is $64,709.30. Half of that is being requested from the SL4B at $32,354.65. So here is the existing condition of the median, and here's the proposed project to the right here. Are there any questions from the board on Sugar Creek's application? All right. Sugar Mill Community Association applied with a fence replacement project along the south side of Jethbroda Boulevard from the intersection of Bernie Road to Oakland Court. The total estimated project cost is $246,915. They're requesting approximately 30% of that be funded by the SL4B at $75,000. You can see the existing conditions of the fence here. And the applicant submitted these photos as what the ideal replacement would look like. It'll look similar to Ganaway Lake Estates and Barrington Places fencing now. Are there any questions on Sugar Mill?
I'd like to make it. To compare my thoughts on the last to this, they're accustomed to this more rigid structure. So, improving it, I get it, obviously. But to go from a wooden cedar fence, the way they've had it forever in that community, great work. I mean, it's just, this is beautiful. I love it, but I just couldn't believe they went from wood to that. Wow.
Just a quick question on this one. Is those structures just going to be resurfaced on the face, or do they get torn down and redone? How's that?
I think the representatives.
So no, they would be completely replaced. They would be completely replaced. Right now, it's a multiple different types of concrete fence systems that they have, and they're falling apart in sections. There are several horizontal sections that are set there, and a lot of them are falling off or falling apart. Right now, the channels that they sit within, with the shifting of the fence currently, the whole section is going to fall out. So it's a complete replacement with a lightweight concrete fence system. So it's a lot safer. It's a lot more durable. It's going to move with the ground, but at the same time, it's more cost effective to install. And you can change the color of it. I know a lot of these other fence systems, whenever they start failing and they replace portions of it, it doesn't match this one. You can replace it. It's stained with the concrete stain, so it can be stained to match exactly as is. No matter how old the age, we can do it by hand. Ganaway was a joint CIP project. We did it in 3 different phases with that community, and Barrington was another joint CIP project we did about 2 years ago. Both again, very good replacement systems for the old concrete systems that are failing around the community.
Okay, any other questions on this one? We had 3 ineligible projects, Venetian Estates Property Owners Association and Sugarland Business Park POA both withdrew their application. And First Colony Community Services Association of Creekshire was deemed ineligible as they requested that the SL4B cover 100% of their project cost. Any questions on this? Here's a summary of all the applications we just reviewed and the amount that they're requesting from the SL4B, as well as this map, which you also have in front of you. To talk about the process a little bit more, we are currently in step 3 of the fund grant program process in this workshop. Prior to this, we accepted applications after we did a lot of outreach from October 1st to November 30th. After this, we went through a staff and committee review of the applications. This committee was composed of representatives from our legal department, community engagement, public works, and community planning and redevelopment departments. And the projects were scored on this criteria here. Projects earned points for accomplishing a program goal, demonstrating the greatest need, providing long-term benefits, completed the application on time, and points were deducted if the group received funding in the last 2 program years or currently has an open ongoing project. In addition to this process, all of these applications were approved and reviewed by the EDC. Are there any questions on the process or staff review process? From the staff review committee, projects were assigned a score and ranked to determine project recommendations. The total requested from SL4B for FY24 fund projects is $493,823. Due to budgetary restrictions, staff recommends these 7 out of 10 of the fund projects that we just reviewed based on the scoring criteria. Here are those along with the SL4B funding request and brackets. The total SL4B funding for these projects will be $308,322. The total project cost being $840,027. Yes, sir.
Emily, what was our budget for this year for that?
$200,000. Any other questions on the recommendation? Here are the lower scoring projects. The Highlands and Colony Grant received low scores because they currently have open projects through the JCIP. And FCCSA's project saw low scores in meeting program goals and the greatest need. Sir, are there any questions over the low scoring projects?
Just a quick one on because on the street improvement, I'd have to understand more around the safety side of it, because it sounds like an issue, especially with kids. But are there other alternatives for that within city structure for street improvements?
I'll jump in real quick. I'm executive director for First Colony. Yeah, this is David Pella, executive director of First Colony. So I mentioned the safety concerns because the day that I called, I actually had like a father and kid cross right at where I was U-turning to get into that parking lot. There is a crosswalk at Cross Lakes and Austin Parkway where the kids could cross. Like if they went down the sidewalk to the crosswalk, they wouldn't be crossing right there. And I know we have walking trails in that park and stuff. I think it's convenient for a lot of people to cross there, but there is actually a crosswalk further down if they utilize it to cross the street to get to the school there. So it would be nice for a lot of reasons for us to have that, but as far as specifically the safety goes, I do think it's important to point out that, because I said it in my comments up there as well, there is actually a crosswalk a little further down Austin Parkway that they can cross right there. I want to clarify on 2 quick things. On one of the previous slides, you saw staff's recommendation to fund a certain number of projects with a budgetary ask of about $308K. There's a program budget of $200,000. The remaining $108K would be pulled, and we would ask y'all for approval in February, but from the Reserve for Opportunities / maybe even the program budget as well. So we would bring you that in February. In terms of First Colony Community Services Association, and all the HOAs on this eligible project slides. I'll say that the first 2 projects kind of scored low because they currently have both neighborhoods have an open project that needs to still be completed, and so they lost some points there. And we will be, engaging First Colony and inviting them to keep applying with projects in the future. They've really used this program before for a number of years, and so we'll keep on engaging with their with the HOA as well as their subdivisions as well. So,
are there any other questions about the recommendation? At this time, I will.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
John, y'all will bring back the reserve that we have eligible then to also show what that amount is at the February or?
Yes, that works.
We talked about the reserve amount that we have eligible to spend above the 200,000, and we can, you will bring that amount.
Yes, sir. And can you go back one slide, please? The amount that we would bring to y'all next month, 108. Yeah, yes, sir. Along with the 200 with the 200 budget.
Yeah, so what we're looking at is really for 308,000, you get another 532,000 benefit roughly to the capital projects that the community support.
I like the way you think about it.
And the actual ratio, if you want to know, is for every dollar we put in, it's $1.72.
Oh, very good.
Okay, at this time, you can all ask any additional questions you may have about any of the applications. And you may also discuss which projects you'd like to see move forward for approval in February, or verify that you as the board have concurrence on staff's recommendation. Are there any questions now?
Comments?
think we're good, Emily. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everybody, for coming and supporting the projects. Very helpful.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda item is the budget amendment. Carry over. All right, and Justin's gonna take us through that.
All right, good afternoon, members of the board. I'm up here before you this afternoon to present on the fiscal year 23 budget carryovers over to FY 24 for the SL4B. Just a quick overview on kind of the purpose of the carryovers. So this is to capture budgetary funding for contracts and purchase orders for goods and services that were not received by the end of the previous fiscal year and get those rolled over to the new fiscal year. When these contracts and purchase orders are rolled over, they typically encumber funds meant for operations in the current fiscal year. And so we get accompanying requests to carry over the previous year's funding by our economic development department to cover those. And as you know, the approved budget that we presented to you back in September of the last year cannot be changed without your approval and subsequently our city council. And so we compile those and bring a budget amendment before you. We'll take a quick look at our fiscal year 23 year-end results just to kind of see the financial picture of the fund at the end of the last fiscal year. For those of you who like detail, we have sort of a condensed financial statement on the left and on the right, a couple of charts here. So at the end of fiscal year 23, we ended up bringing an additional $360,000 in revenues, primarily from additional interest income, a little bit of that from additional sales tax revenues. On the expense side of the $12.26 million budget, $9.17 million was spent year to date with savings of just over $3 million. So that additional revenue and expenditure savings comes down to our bottom line. And we ended the year with $3.46 million in ending fund balance over what we projected for fiscal year end. And so that will carry over into the next year. These are the submitted fiscal year 23 carryovers for consideration. I'll leave these up here for a brief moment for you to review and ask any questions. I'm sure economic development staff will be happy to answer. All right. So with that additional $3.46 million in beginning fund balance from year-end results, we starting off FY 24 with just over $17.2 million in the bank, carrying over that roughly $70,000 in carryover expenditures. That brings us to a revenue over under expenditures of $3.7 million. Each year, our accounting staff will process a change to our accrued sales tax, and that'll bring us to a net change in our anticipating ending fund balance for fiscal year 24 of $3.31 million, leaving us anticipated to end the year with $10.13 million in ending fund balance. And so at that point, I will ask if you have any other additional questions. All right. So at this time, we ask, our recommendation is for the approval of a budget amendment in the amount of $66,982 to amend fiscal year 24 budget for the proposed FY 23 carryovers.
I hear a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second. Okay. Board Member Ferguson, the motion to approve, and Board Member Zeski has seconded. So all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous in favor. Thank you.
All right, so next steps, we'll be bringing this item as well to our city council for final approval. Then we'll get those changes posted and you'll see those reflected in the city's February monthly financial reports. Thank you.
It's easy when they go out. For more revenue. Governor of the director's report.
All right, everybody, good afternoon. I just have a few updates for you. So on a marketing update and programmatic update, just to let you know that the Great Homes program is going to be relaunched for year 2. So it reopens on February 1st. We still do have the design vouchers that are available now, so people do not have to wait till February 1st to apply for the design program. So we encourage folks to do that. It is a great opportunity and tool in order to kind of move over to the next step of doing your exterior improvements. Not everybody knows what color they want to paint their house or kind of reimagine what the facade of their home could look like. But the actual exterior improvement part will reopen on February 1st. There is a $500 rebate and an additional incentive may be available to homeowners that make one exterior improvement within a 6-month period. So just kind of a little bit of a bonus to incentivize folks to use the program, the design program. For a marketing update, Visit Sugar Land, our tourism division. Their sweet shop is have a soft grand opening will be on January 25th at Smart Financial Center. Hope you can join us there. So, and if you've been to Smart Financial since then, like it was open, I think early December for the Elf Show. I think it was the first time it was open. I know my girls very much enjoyed it when we went to the Nutcracker. Got a lollipop bigger than their face, and so it has been a great addition to be able to welcome visitors to our city. That we get a lot of traction through the Smart Financial Center. And then Violet PR, who is our marketing contract that we work with the economic development group on as well. They did secure an interview with Invest Houston with the mayor this past week. And it is a economic development magazine that you can see there, the far-reaching global audience that it has, with 50% of it being the Fortune 500 companies. So there's a great opportunity for PR to get out there about Sugar Land, Texas, and all that we have to offer as part of our business attraction, but also kind of future image of our community to get those investment dollars here. Okay, that might be it. All right, I hope everybody has a wonderful afternoon, and we'll see you next time in February to bring forward the rest of those applications.
Okay.
Oh.
Motion to adjourn the meeting. Councilman Jackson, motion, and Ferguson to second.
Yes.
Thank you.